queen of disco, and there's only been one.
Donna Summer started the song I Love to Love You Baby in the studio, where she had many questions to do with her sexuality. Donna Summer came out as bisexual in the year 1976 during an interview where she was asked if she touched herself while she was in the studio recording the song. The idealisation behind this is that she has only fantasised herself, and that is the whole point in Donna Summer's music and career. Everything she does is for herself, hence the song I Love to Love You Baby. It's all about self-love instead of loving somebody else, which is what made her career so unstoppable and made many people and younger people fantasise over her and her show-stopping business and success to drive. Donna became the face and voice of one of the most powerful music and cultural movements in America. As mentioned, Black Lives Matter is such a thing in 21st century today, but back then, as a disco icon, she projected an even more empowering African-American femininity that would influence artists from Grace Jones to Beyonce, even to Rihanna now, which helped make her and her figurehead of gay club life. As an artist, her music was incredibly influential.
As an artist.
During the late 1960s, Donna left home for New York City at 18, where she had quickly landed a role in a touring production of the Broadway show Hair. Hair was obviously something within African American society that is heavily looked upon, especially in the 21st century. Even though she spent years and years living and touring Europe, she had met and come across many nasty people that had commented on her appearance as well. During the years of making music and production, as well as appearing on TV, film, and also Broadway, she managed to shape the lives of different American and Black women and men's society, especially within gay culture too.
It was hot, sexy.
It's like an adult amusement park.
Studio 54 is a former disco nightclub, currently a Broadway theatre, which is located on 254 West 54th Street, between 8th Avenue and Broadway in Midtown Manhattan. This has appeared in many films and many TV programmes over the centuries. New York City, and is the building opened in 1927 as an opera house originally. It operated as an entertainment venue under various names until 1942, when CBS began using it as a radio and television studio, dubbed Studio 52. This then became on to be an even former and launched bigger dancing and music trends, where the club became world famous, noted for its celebrity guest lists, restrictive and subjective entry policies based on one's appearance and style, which in the 1980s then became on to the disco era. The club was sold to two people called Swagger and his college buddy Steve Rebel. They were hunted, and in 1977 they converted a former CBS television studio, adding theatrical lighting and a dance floor, which then obviously created Studio 54. They opened a club in the middle of what was the red light district. People thought they were insane to do this, and a film and producer and director said overnight it literally became a hit. The studio was more than just a disco freak. It was more than a nightclub. It was a cultural phenomenon, as quoted. It started at the door, where crowds were kept behind a velvet rope and a doorman lifted it only for the famous, the outrageous, the beautiful and the unusual. Who they let in at the doors were created the magic and the freedom everyone wanted in, and those who couldn't were struggling. In December of 1978, dozens of agents descended on the club. Agents uncovered the club's financial records, which included payouts for drugs and, as a prosecutor Peter Sudler recalls in the film, one column that was labelled Skim. So as of that, the daily record of everything that they took in is basically what they had took out. As a total sum, it came to $2.5 million. It was part of a ridiculous intoxication, and everything was suffering during the Studio 54. During that time in prison, Strader and Rebel sold Studio 54, but the business partners would later redeem themselves, launching a boutique hotel business before Rebel died of AIDS in 1989. It had brought closure of everything, and they always wanted everyone to know that the closure they had in Studio 54 was not just the life and soul of the party, but it brought everyone together.